What is up, everyone? It's the PGA PinSeekers show. We're back. It's just a two-man booth, me and Big T, talking this week's Mexico Open, and it's an interesting week when you got Akshay Bhatia as the most expensive golfer in the field at 10.7K. But I'll bring in Big T, and I got to mention, hey, he did peel $200 off me 2 weeks ago, but I got him back for $100. I'm not saying this is the event I'm dying to bet $100 bills on, but we'll see if we can get a wager going during the show. But Big T, how are you doing?
Yeah, we got to have – it's part of the golf since we've started around here. There's got to be $100 wagers in the golf show. It's all part of it. Yeah, last week I honestly forgot who we bet, but I knew I had Pendrith, and I knew he didn't beat hardly anyone up there, so I knew I lost whoever it was. I couldn't remember who, but, yep, down a hundy to Old Travis. And this week – what happened to Big T's? Hey, Reed, don't turn on me with your Eagles coming in here. I can't see anything above his eyebrows. Come on. You know you want one of these new hats for your Eagles.
Yeah, there's new hats in the shop. I'm sure we'll be, giving them out as well. So is that a camo hat basically, or is there what other kinds of hats?
It's camo. We got the Masters green. Of course, I don't have them right here, but we got the Masters green. I sent the tweet too. 4 of them came in. The white ones that everyone loves, the green Masters ones that everyone loves, and then this one, and then there's like a cactus one that is a little off too that I like.
Okay, I like the Masters one. I think that's one.
The Masters one's the best one for sure. Like golf season, I wore that thing all year for golf.
Yep, definitely. And I'll be golfing a little more this year, so I need one of those so I go out on the course. But we got a interesting week here. Yes, Matty Ice, the pizza rolls were nice and crispy. They taste a little better too when you get hundies in your pocket. I'll say that. So that's always a nice feeling. But we got the Mexico Open, and it's not a great field, but there's edges to be had, right? There's still money to be won up top. For me, I'm going to take ownership into account, I think, pretty closely this week because I don't know. I feel like I'm picking between like one piece of garbage or another, right? I don't know. I just don't. I think this is definitely a week where salary doesn't matter that much. And also, I think ownership is really important. So that's something I will be keying in on this week. Also, no JBC this week. He's not feeling good. He's got one of those viruses going around that sounds like everyone's getting sick this time of year. I've dodged it so far. Let's hope I can make it a month or two more and not get sick, but we'll have to see. Big T, ready to dive in?
Yeah, and like you said, the good thing about these weeks is there's not going to be the same level of chalk as other events. Like, don't get me wrong, the top, there's 3 guys above 10K. They're going to be high owned just because the way it sets up. They're all the biggest odds or the lowest odds, best golfers. But in the past years at Mexico, like we've had like Rom play, Finau, some of these guys that were like 50, 60% owned, and you had to decide. That's not going to be the case this week. And as you get lower down, like there's not that much difference between like the 9K guys and the 7K guys on normal weeks, which to your point means you can get a little more creative with stuff. Even if you play the guys at the top, you can still get super creative because honestly, even the guys at the top, there's just not that much that you need to have. So I always like these events just because there's a little more creativity that you can get with it. Whereas last week, and I did all right last week, I was rolling going into the weekend, but Jam, Scotty, and Rory, it obviously wasn't the nuts, but the whole point in playing that strategy is I still like almost broke even, and Rory stunk on the weekend. So there's not much creativity, though, on weeks like that, whereas weeks like this, there is a lot of different things we can do going into this event, which I like.
Yeah, for sure. And also, there's not like a Scotty that's like, I mean, you kind of said it with the Finau stuff, which guys 60%, but like, honestly, Scotty just has like created this massive chalk up top every week. And it used to not be like that. When I look at the guys up top, the highest owned golfer I'm seeing is the most expensive golfer. That's Akshay Bhatia, probably because he's just easy to get. He's going to project as one of the best plays just because that's what projections do in golf, even though they're not that important, in my opinion. 26% ownership we're seeing at SaberSim. Also, Rasmus Højgaard, he is at 26%. And then the guy who is the leverage play, sandwich in between above 10K, that is Kurt Kitayama, who I know you definitely like to play at times, Big T. Those are the big three that we have today, over 10K. What's your thoughts on Højgaard, Kitayama, and Bhatia?
Yeah, honestly, they're going to be the three highest owned, and I get it. But like I said, I don't see any difference in them and the 9K guys, honestly. I mean, how in the world is Sam Stevens? Maybe not. I mean, I don't know how he's in the 9Ks when we get to it. But it's like you said with ownership. If all these guys, which I do think all three of these guys end up in the 20s, and no one else ends up in the 20s in the whole event, I think. So if I can get some leverage just coming off this range and just getting, even if it's only 10% difference or something, I think it's what I want to do. I look at these guys, and don't get me wrong, I think they're the best in the field. Akshay, I mean, ninth last week. He's been solid, but fourth here 2 years ago. I showed this sheet last week, but if you haven't checked out the Smart Golf info up on our site, super easy to look at recent form. Honestly, I can screen share it again.
Yeah, screen share. It's already up. We're already set up for the screen share. Actually, let me double check. We're probably not actually.
It's good, I think.
And I think it's going to do the 2-man thing. Now we are set up for the screen share.
Yeah, so I will show. No, you jacked it up. You had it. I think you had it originally. There we go.
I messed it up.
So this is the sheet, which is just freaking awesome on the homepage. If you want to, I didn't show how you get to it, but if you go to the golf header, go to Smart Golf Info. What I like is you can go right here. I mean, you got these top three guys. You got their recent form, and then this year there's only been three years of history at the Mexico event. So you got a lot right here in a short little narrow window, which I like. Being OCD, I like having everything in one spot right here where I can check it out. Even the odds, I'd rather use DraftKings, our partner, but you got odds right here where you can see
Big T, I like the odds. The reason why I like the odds is you can sort like you have by DK salary, and I can clearly tell, like, I mean, Aaron Rai looks like a way better play than Patrick Rogers for 100 less because of the odds and alone, right? So I don't know. That was SGI. Sorry. So based on Bet365, you would say Harry Hall and Kim are slightly better plays than Aaron Rai, right? Because of that, and you could sort by salary and find absolute mispricings, but guys that just stick out that seem like they're misprices, like we talked about with Siwoo Kim and some other options.
Yep. It's just an easy way to narrow it down. And so we're talking about the 10K guys. I just don't like Kitayama. I'm a big fan of Kitayama, but I'm a big fan of Kitayama when he's 7,200 at a big event and he's my fifth guy in my lineup or something where he's got the upside to win. I'm not a fan of Kitayama at 10-2 as my highest priced guy where he hasn't finished top 37 in his 4 events this year. I love that too, where you hold the cursor over, it shows you the date and the event. So it's a cool little thing we got up on the site from the Smart Golf Info. I love that. But I mean, when I see this and I see he's going to be one of the higher owns, I just immediately don't want to go there. Don't get me wrong. Playing 150 teams, I doubt I'll fade these 3 completely just because it would be stupid to do in an event like this when you can play anyone. But if they're similar to what I said last week with a couple guys, if they're like, say they're 25%, and 20-something percent, maybe I go down to like 10% or something of these 3 guys, and they're not a main team candidate for me, especially the top 2. Akshay, I can't play Akshay as the top price guy in an event like this. I just can't. I just physically can't do it, especially as the highest owned. The one guy that I will stick with, he finished dead last week, literally dead last. But Rasmus, our boy, we've talked about him the last few weeks, 22nd at Pebble, 12th at the Phoenix Open, and then last week, dead last. But he's got good history, and I just love his talent level. So he would be my guy in the 10Ks. But like I said, I'm totally okay just fading the 10Ks and that ownership and working my way down to these 9K guys.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm okay leaving salary this week. I know.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I saw someone talking about like chasing the optimal and stuff in the chat, and like you don't need the optimal in golf, and I don't really care what the optimal is necessarily. But this week, I mean, it's just like there's not a big difference between Akshay and like Aaron Rai and all these other guys up top. So, how do you rank them, Big T? You said Rasmus 1, Bhatia 2, and then Kitayama 3, probably.
Yeah, I would rank them for sure. I jacked it up. Rasmus. I go backwards. Rasmus, Kitayama, Akshay. I just don't like Akshay all that much. But honestly, Rasmus is the only one that I don't like Akshay and Kitayama all that much at all.
No, that's fine. And I'm sure you'll like the 9K range a bunch then. Let's get to the 9K range. Sam Stevens, I actually think he's probably one of my favorite plays in this range. We do have a lot of 9K guys. Taylor Moore, Bo Hostler, Michael Kim, Harry Hall, Aaron Rye, Patrick Rogers, who is the chalk in this range, and then Steven Yeager and Sam Stevens. So I do like Sam Stevens a lot. I'm seeing some guys that are going to be low owned. We talked about Harry Hall on this show. He's going to be 5%. So we do have some low owned plays. We got some high owned plays. There's like 8 or 9 of them, Big T. So talk about this 9K range.
First of all, Sam Stevens. I mean, I like Sam Stevens too. But even in a weak event at 9,800, I mean, there's just literally no way I can click that button. I just can't. And he's played 6 straight weeks. He did finish second at the Farmers, but not that great anywhere else. I just physically can't click 9,800 for Sam Stevens. He's got to be a fade for me. He missed the cut here last year. Not that that matters a ton, but I just can't see it. Whereas you got a guy like Yeager who has done well here 3 times. He hasn't been as good recently, but I like his upside, Yeager, for sure. Rogers just was awesome last week. Had a chance to win somewhat late at a big event. And then I love seeing the last 3 years, all 3 top 10s. I like Patrick Rogers. That just shows you how bad this event is, though. All these guys are used to being in the 7Ks. This week they're in the 9Ks. It's just tough. It's tough to click the buttons. But Aaron Rye, again, not playing that great. Hasn't been that great here, so I don't love that. Harry Hall, I just can't do it. 9,300 for – I just can't physically do it. Michael Kim, though, is a guy that was popping for me a couple weeks ago. He finished second, finished 13th right back. So you're talking about a guy that has played 2 big events really well and now comes to this event. To me, that's a guy that could pop through and win the tournament. And he's just going to be lower owned than some of these other guys because he's not as popular. So I like him. Another guy that I've always loved, again, not at 9K, but the event is the event. Taylor Moore looks awesome. I mean, he's been really good. 2 top 10s the last, at Phoenix and the American Express. I just love his game. He's a guy that I can really get behind. And it's just crazy. So you got to get past the mental block of seeing these prices because all these guys, you're used to having 2K less than they are this week. But for me in this range, I'm going to go Michael Kim, actually number 1. I'm going to go, Bo Hostler. Of all the people in this range, Bo Hostler looks like he's the cheapest, if that means anything, where like all these other guys feel like they should be cheaper than Hostler, just pure feel. So I like Hostler 2 and Taylor Moore 3. So I do like Yeager 2. I actually like the 9Ks a decent amount, but you're going to have to play these guys. There's no way around it. The field is so weak. You're just going to have to take stabs on guys in this range. Somebody in this range more than likely is going to win this tournament.
I mean, there's 8 or 9 of them, right? So it's like I do feel confident that one of them will get up there. One thing you could do too, Big T, is you could just like if you X'd out like the top 6 guys and then built your teams, I don't think that's the craziest thing, and you'd be super unique right then and there.
I'm very confident in doing the top 4. Sam Stevens is the worst on the whole board to me, and I like him. I'm like you, I do like him. But 9,800?
It's a lot.
No way. Even in
but
this
salary doesn't matter this week. That's the whole point.
I get it, but still, it matters a little bit. Like you can fit some of the mid. I just can't do it with him in 90. He can be our wager though if you like him, because I'll take anyone over him.
And I mean, I'm not dying.
Any of these dudes in this range, you can have your boy over.
I'm more like the ownership, right? The 10%. It's just a nice ownership. They're all
going to be similar though, like in this range. When you click it, they're all going to be.
And we'll see. We'll see.
Everyone's going to be everyone in the 9Ks is going to be between 10 and 15%.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think. So I like Michael Kim. I mean, I do like the lower 9K range. The upper 9K, Yeager's fine. Patrick Rogers, I don't like Patrick Rogers that much, especially at chalk. Aaron
All
Rodgers.
these guys, though, the hard part is all these guys are going to be like, well, I don't like him. None of these guys are chalkier. That's what I'm saying. None of these dudes are going to be higher owned than the other guys. They're just
Rogers is coming in at 23%.
There's literally no way. Whatever we argued last week on, I was definitely right, too, over you. You guys were saying some dude was going to be 20, and there's just no way.
I don't know who it was. I can't even remember.
There's literally no way. Just looking at the odds and stuff, there's no way.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. All right, let's I do think the lower nines is way better than the upper nines.
I love these three. If I start my team with Michael Kim, Bo Hosler, and Taylor Moore, I feel really good. Even two of those three.
That's what I was going to ask. If you play Hosler, Moore, and Kim, you're left with 7,500.
Yeah, like that. That's where I want to live right there. And even if you pivoted one of those guys out for whoever, Yeager or Rogers, or I feel really good if you play three. I think a lot of people will play three studs, obviously, but that's why the ownership will all be between around 15% for most of these guys, I think. But still, I like my team with three of these guys.
Yeah, I will admit, I will consider Xing out the top end guys and then just seeing what I can do with the optimizer and mess around with it. Because I'll definitely at least try it. I don't know if that'll be my upload, but I'll mess around with it to see what it looks like. I do like Harry Hall a lot in this range, though. Again, I just want the lower owned guys, and it's at least someone that I like and I think has a lot of upside, right? When we play, for instance, Harry Hall is typically a 6K, 7K guy, and we play him because he has upside. We don't play him because he's this cash game guy.
Who was it, Snyder? I forget who it was, though. Who are we arguing about?
I know. I don't know.
I remember I was right, but it was I knew I lost my wager to you, but I didn't know who. I know I was right about the ownership, but I forget
who. Was it Siwoo Kim?
Nah, that was a couple weeks ago, I think.
Yeah. No, Ryan, we definitely have love for Harry Hall. I think this is
I mean, I love the 9K range. I don't really. Honestly, the only guy I don't like is Sam Stevens. I like the rest. Yeah, I will probably play the rest. Honestly, in my pool, I like Mangone's idea, and I haven't built yet, but I think I'm gonna pretty much close to fade the top four, and then play above the field on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The other 7 play above the field on them.
Well, it's what it's going to do is it's naturally going to force a different build. Tony, you and I talk about this all the time. In NBA, we talk about playing 3 studs instead of 2 studs while people are doing that, right? You've said it in college basketball. While everyone's playing the mid-tier, go grab one of those 10K guys, right? This is a strategy where I'm telling you, if you use an optimizer and build your teams, you will naturally just get a ton of Akshay Bhatia and Rasmus Højgaard and Kurt Kitayama, just because it wants to fill out the salary, right? Based on the projections you've done. I mean, I don't think it's crazy if you and again, just
those guys are not better than these guys. I mean, maybe by a hair, but it's one event. They're not that much better than. It's not like the difference between Scotty and Rory and that next tier or something. It's just not.
Yes, and you are gaining so much leverage on the field with just that unique strategy. It's worth at least running the optimizer and seeing what it does, right? That takes 5 minutes to do. Spend the 5 minutes, put the work in, don't just click optimize and move on. See if it's a strategy. And if you don't like the strategy, that's fine. Maybe you'll say, hey, I'm getting way too much of these guys and I want to just add one of the studs. That's fine. Then add one of the studs. Look at it. I think it's a good way to kind of consider building out your lineups. Let's get to the 8K range. Ben Griffin, he is 8,900. Kevin Yu's the interesting one. I believe we spent 6K for Kevin Yu.
Yes, we did. That was my core play last week, 6K.
Yeah, how did you
look at that 17th place finish too, 6K.
Yeah, that's pretty good. But Kevin Yu at 8.8 seems wild to me. But again, all these prices seem wild, right? That's the whole point. That's when I saw Kevin Yu at 8.8. That was the biggest one. I was like, we were just spending 6K for him. This is an insane jump, but I get it because of the field. Alex Smalley, Jake Knapp, Justin Lower, Nicholas Norgard, Muller, C.T. Pam, Thorborn Olsen. I butchered that one. Nikolai Højgaard, who I know we will talk a lot about. Ryan Fox and Grayson Sig. So the entire 8K range. And Big T, I think you look at this 8K range, And you can make the case. I wouldn't be shocked if Alex Smalley was in the 9K range, right? I wouldn't be shocked if Ben Griffin was. Like, the 8K range isn't that different than the 9K range. Sure, there's better golfers in the 9K range a little bit, but again, I don't think the gap is that wide. And of course, Nikolai Højgaard, I wouldn't be shocked if he was 10K in this field. So what's your thoughts on this 8K range?
Yeah, I just think you can use the 2K example. Like, all these guys are usually in the 6Ks, just like we were talking in the last about being in the 7Ks type thing. I mean, Ben Griffin last week was 63 or 6,400. Kevin Yu was 6K. Smalley was high 6Ks. Jake Knapp was down there. Like, all these guys were down there. So it's just everything's 2K more. And some of these guys, though, I do think, like, I know Kevin Yu is way expensive from what you like, but the dude is a bomber and he's been playing pretty good golf. Him and Smalley like stick out to me as really good plays. I mean, look at Smalley. 3 of his last 5 events at Sony, American Express, and Phoenix, 3 top 21s. And like you said, it's just, you're not looking at it like a normal event. It's a grease ball event. So I actually like these guys. Ben Griffin, however, like, look at the difference. And this is how I build PGA. It might not be how everyone does, but like, just look at these guys. If I'm comparing, they've both played the last 5 events. Kevin Yu, for the most part, has been better. There is a 7th right there at the Amex for Ben Griffin, but he's been better. Alex Smalley's been better. So I like these two over Ben Griffin. Their odds are very similar. I mean, 30, 40, 35, very similar across the board. I like you and Smalley a lot. Jake Knapp won here last year, and he's been somewhat decent, so I like him.
I wouldn't ignore Jake Knapp. He doesn't have to win again, right? Some people I can't play the guy who won last year. It's like, dude, if he gets 8th, great. I'm very happy. I'll sign up for that.
Absolutely. So I like that range. Lauer, he's solid. I don't love, though. This Norgard dude, though, he's a big-time talent, and he's a guy that's got to be lower owned. What is he projected? He's got some ownership coming, too, it looks a little bit. Sometimes I'm so far off, and then sometimes, man, he looks higher owned when I run it than I thought. But he's a big-time talent at 8,400. And I know people will laugh at that just because a lot of people don't know who he is, but he's a bigger talent golf-wise than everyone in this range. He hasn't played as much. He doesn't have as much like history over here, but his actual talent level is better than all these guys. And I always want to bet on talent. He finished 4th at the Hero, missed a cut at the Farmers. I like him, though. CT Pan, I don't know about CT Pan. You did pronounce Thorbjorn well, I think, though. I think you nailed it when you said it. You didn't have confidence in yourself, but I think you nailed it. Nikolai, I like his brother more. I'm not going to play Grayson Sigg. I'm not going to play Fox. So it's more of the mid-range for me. I really like you. I really like Smalley, Knapp, Norgard. I like that middle range the best for me in the 8Ks.
Yeah. Did you mention your guy Nikolai? I think you said him a little bit, right?
Yeah, I like his brother more. I'm more on the Rasmus train of the 2 brothers.
Okay.
I don't like Nikolai that much.
Yeah, I mean, 8K range is definitely, a lot of different options you can go to. I will call out some of the guys that are just like unknown, right? Like Justin Lower. I do think he's a high upside guy. Listen, he's not a good floor play, but he's coming in at 1% right now. Like, that is pretty wild to think. 1%.
I think you got bad ownership. So you looking at Sabres? Which ones?
I'm looking at Sabre. Yes,
There's some bad ones you're like. He's going to be low, but he ain't going to be 1. Like, there's no way.
Yeah, it probably won't be 1.
He's going to be like 8 or 9. But still.
You know what I'm curious about? Like, Ryan Fox was always like this, like, DFS darling for like years, like way back. Is he going to be low owned? Because I know he's always like.
He's going to be the lowest in this range for sure, just because everything doesn't check out. He's not playing great. He did have a top 10 at the Hero, but
he's an upside guy.
The highest odds in the range. He's got to be, and he's the oldest. I love how it has the age on here too, so you can see who's the freaking oldest.
Yeah. Great.
Ryan Fox has got to be low owned.
I will say Grayson Sigg is someone I've always been a fan of, and he's someone in that range I'll probably have exposure to as well. So I like Grayson Sigg. let's get to the 7K range. And one of my old favorites, I used to love playing Matt Wallace. He fell off a cliff, but I used to love playing him. He is 7.9K. You got Putnam, Mac Meeser. We'll do these 7.6 to 7.9. So there's not a lot of guys in that range, Big T, but there's probably 8 or 9 of them. I don't know if anything sticks out to you in this range. Again, a lot of guys that I'm not in love with. I think this high 7.8, 7.9 range, I don't think it's as good as the lower 7K range, but what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it gets – one of the reasons that the 9Ks and the 8Ks and the guys up top are getting all the ownership is because if they're 2K too cheap, you start looking at these guys and you're like, man, it is a tough scene at these high sevens. And so Mac Meisner, I loved him last year, but he just hasn't quite put it together. He just hasn't looked good. I'm with you. I used to love Matt Wallace. I like Matt Wallace, or at least I used to like Matt Wallace, though, on tough courses. I don't like him in like a Mexico setting where it's an easier course. You got to score, and he just hasn't played good. Putnam, our boy Putnam, he's more of a short course guy to me. I don't like him. Fishburne missed 3 straight cuts. One guy that I think is too – so once I start getting down here, I just think like who's too cheap, especially in an event like this. And Carson Young to me feels too cheap. Like he's normally a 7,700 guy or 6,700, somewhere in there. But everyone else is like the 2K number. So if I take 2K off him, that'd be 50. Say like he feels too cheap to me at Carson Young. I know he hasn't played great. He did finish 8th and 15th the last 2 times here. I think he sticks out. Thor Bjornsson is another guy, very young but very talented, 23 years old. I like him too. Jesper's a pretty big talent. I could be talked into him. Gerard. I want to bet on talent in the cheaper range. Bet on talent and where we can kind of get some upside. I'll go through the 7,500.
Is Jesper related to Adam?
I don't think so, but I do not know. Maybe
I guess not. One's from Sweden and one's from Canada. So
I don't think they're related though. But that's funny that they are right by each other too. And they're I don't know. Chan Kim's a guy that catches my eye here and there. EVR pops, but man, 3 missed cuts in the last 5. He did finish 8th. EVR is always at least capable of popping off though. So him, but the guys that really stick out in the high sevens for me, Carson Young, I like a lot, and Thor Bjornsson, I think are very good plays looking in that range.
All right, that is that range. Again, I don't love that range. I don't think there's a lot of golfers that I want to load up on in this range. I would kind of agree with the Carson Young stuff. You see him and he feels like he sticks out. But one reason why I feel like he sticks out is I feel like you just see him and you feel like you're rostering Cam Young. So I don't know. Not excited about him. I'd rather get this lower 8K range with a lot of the golfers we talked about. Let's get to the lower 7K range. More notable names, Sam Ryder. I know he can flash him upside at times at 7.4K. Victor Perez, Lanto, Griffin. We got Chris Ventura. I believe you're going to talk about him in a little bit. I know Snyder's one of the soldiers in the past was Chris Goddard. I don't know if he's a soldier this week. Trey Mullinax. So Big T, a lot of different golfers we can roster in this 7K range. Who are some of the ones you're looking at?
Yeah, I think this range is where it starts to get good. Like I said, the 9Ks. What'd you say if you roster 3 9Ks, you got 7,500 or something left?
Yeah, those 3 lower 9Ks we said, it's like 7.5K for your last 3 spots. So you can go grab one 8K guy and still live in the low 7K range.
And I love it because I love this range. You got a bunch of younger guys that I think have big games, and starting with Bridgman. I mean, we've liked Bridgman a lot. He has missed 3 cuts, 21st, but this is the type of event where, again, these guys down in here, I think are priced accurately, where a lot of the guys up top are 2K too expensive. Even though it's this type of event, I get it. Everybody's going to look like that, but these guys' price feels good to me. And Bridgman, Sam Ryder's been solid. I played this pot guider dude a couple of weeks ago. He finished 15th. I love his talent. 20 years old, 7,300. I have to like him. Rosner, I've played Rosner a bunch in the past. He just finished 4th at this DP World Tour event, 48th at the Farmers. I like him. Ventura, though, is a guy that he could end up being a core play for me. I love his talent level. Finished 4th at the Farmers, 49th Phoenix. Big time talent. Lanto, I'm not going to be on Lanto. He's a smaller course type guy for me. Victor Perez is a guy I like at tougher events. Got her up. Is Got her up a soldier this week? Is that what you said?
Snyder's made him a soldier in the past. I don't know. I was giving Snyder the chance to let us know if he's a soldier, if he's still here.
He's a big time talent, or at least he was a big time talent. I don't know about him though as much. Chandler Phillips, Highsmith. I guess I don't like this range as much as I thought. Oh, I love my boy Montecero though. Big time talent. I like him a lot in this type of field. Montecero. Who else is in the 7s down here?
There was Matthias Schwab is always interesting. Like I also like Grillo typically. I know he's kind of can be very up and down, and he's been down lately. Yeah.
He's a ball striker though, and like you said, Schmid the mid. Hopefully he's not mid this week. I like his talent. There's a lot of guys down in here that I think you can take a chance on.
Look at Grillo's course history too.
Solid.
Could be something there with him, so I wouldn't totally.
I always like him at events because watch the video. Snyder, I can't wait to watch the video. I'm going to. Oh, Matteo is. Now you're getting me excited. Matteo's a soldier.
That's what we call a tease.
I like that. Hopefully my boy. Who did I say? Pot Geyer is another one. I like him.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of a loaded range. Here's a take for you, Big T. Go to that guy. Who's the Aldrich guy? Go back to him real quick.
Who?
Aldrich or whatever. Yeah. Go to him real quick. So here's my take. He's 20 years old. Mexico Open. Do you think he's getting after the drinks a little too early though? Because you can't be drinking in the States, right? At 20, but he is. I'm just saying.
It might help him.
Well, he's from South Africa. I don't know. I mean, maybe it helps him. I don't know.
I think it might help him.
Maybe it helps him, but I just thought I thought it was interesting. He might be hitting the bar a little bit in Mexico. We'll have to see. Actually, this is the event too, Tony. I don't know if this will happen, but guys get sick here a lot, right, from drinking the water and everything. Like we've had it happen a couple times, so that could be another interesting factor to this week. Not much you can do about it. Just gotta pray.
Oh. Diggs is saying our 3 guys are the worst in the range. That's fine. We're okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say this with Grillo. He's probably not going to grade out good stat-wise. I was just saying, if you looked at only the course history, he's got a 33rd, a 5th, or 4th, and a 33rd. It's not nothing. So he could have something going on there. Right? That's all I'm saying. He's from Argentina, playing Mexico. You never know if that helps out a little bit of narrative there. So
I like this Castillo guy too. He looks pretty solid. 15th at the Farmers, 43rd at the Amex, 80-1 to win. I like this range. I mean, this is a nice range for me.
Well, like actually another thing, Tony, do this. So we have a lot of 80-1s in this range. Go up to that like 7-6 range, and I want to see the difference in odds there. I guess.
Yeah, I mean they're down in the 55-60 range. So okay. Man, I love Carson Young.
I was just wondering how much of a difference there was. I mean, it's not that big of a difference, but I thought it might be a little closer where it was like more 70s. But okay, interesting for sure. Let's get to the 6K range, which felt like I just talked about the 6K range. So we got a lot of crappy golfers to talk about in this range.
Look at Big Damon down there, Big Damon.
Yeah, Joel's an interesting one. We'll obviously talk about him. He is at 6.9K. He's the first one up there. Sure, he'll project good. Luke List, he's always an interesting upside play. You got KH Lee. I always like him for cheap because, again, he's kind of an upside guy. Let me see. Nate Lashley down there. Henrik Norlander.
If you like Grillo, you got to like Luke List. Luke List and Grillo are like the exact same talent.
I know. If you want an amateur that I don't mind, if you remember when COVID happened and we were playing Corn Ferry DFS, I rostered some Jeremy Paul in the past. So I don't know. He was like a young guy that I know. I'm curious what his age is. Is he old or young? Go to Jeremy Paul. He's like in the 30. He's 30 now. So he was probably 25 when I was rostering him. But He was someone I liked to play in the past. I'll remember his name stuck out. Taylor Montgomery's down there. You have a lot of different options. Peter Malnati, Davis Riley's at 6'3". So there are guys that we know about, obviously. It's a loaded range of like just a ton of plays. No one is really getting ownership. The only guy I'm seeing get ownership, actually no one is. Really, I don't see any guy getting like high ownership in this 6K range. And part of it is because I bet a lot of people are not building stars and scrubs, right? They're probably building more balanced. But Big T, what is sticking out to you in the 6K range?
Yeah, I mean, there just can't be anyone above. I mean, at the very most, 10% down here. You just don't need it. There's so many guys above that you can fit in easily that you just don't need it, which makes these guys good plays, honestly, because anyone low owned, and these guys could easily contend in an event like this. So just going down, I mean, some of them, like I played this Suber dude a couple weeks ago. He did good. I like his talent at 25 years old. Who else? Damon. I mean, Damon at this price point, you have to at least consider. Took 9th at the Farmers. He's played decent golf. I know he's missed 3 out of 4 cuts, but he has the ability. The guy I like that I don't love his recent form. I mean, look, this is against everything I believe in. 3 missed cuts, a withdrawal, 2 missed cuts here. I love this dude's talent, though, Max McGreevy. So it goes against everything I believe in. But I do love his talent and price at this event. It's just hard for me to pull the trigger when you see just all bad things in his column. Our boy Jerry Springer, you gotta like Jerry Springer. Jerry. He's played some good golf. 6th at the Farmers. I actually like him a decent amount this week.
He's a younger guy too, 28. I mean, he's not like old, but yeah.
I like taking some chances on some of these guys down here. Will Gordon's got some talent at 28, finished 24th here. I like him. Valmaki was awesome last year. He came out of nowhere here, 26, finished 2nd, got a 15th at the Farmers. I mean, you have to have a little bit of interest in him.
What do you think of Will Chandler? He doesn't have age. Is that former Denver Nugget Wilson Chandler right there?
He switched sports.
He changed his name to Will, and he switched sports on it.
He might be trying to sneak in under the radar without an age.
Yeah, I thought that was
man. He's got the worst odds too. Just finished 2nd though, or 6th at Phoenix. I remember he got hot at Phoenix. So
I don't know.
Maybe the game's starting to click for him a little bit. Down here, who else? Celinda. I've heard this guy's name a few times. Celinda, you can take a chance on.
I'll say this: I don't want to have anyone in this range at like 10 or 20%, right? I want like small stabs. You know what I mean? Like I don't think this is a spot to take a stand on anyone. If that makes sense.
I mean, I like when I build in this range because I'm assuming everyone's going to be somewhere 5 or less. I would just go into Sabre and just say I want no more than like 50. So I'd put like 5 to 15% type thing.
Yeah.
And honestly, I want 10%. Like if I got say 10 of these guys, 10% each or something, I'm pretty good with that because I know I'd be above the field on all of them. And there is a few, like once I actually start building that there is some guys like this dude, this Ballister dude. I think he's the kid from Arizona State that won the amateur last year, 6,400. That's the type of guy that I'm fine getting like 20% of because you know the talent's there. Not really many people know about him yet. And I just like taking a chance on some talent. He's 21 years old. I mean, that's the type of guy I could go up to 20% with. But everyone else, 5 to 10%, I'm pretty good with down in here.
Tony, don't let Patrick Harrington, 53-year-old, scroll up. Don't let him get hot.
Oh God!
Look at his recent. No, go back down. You were there. Look at the 6th, and 38th.
I don't see him. Where's he at?
No, go up again.
There he is. Look at that 6-piece. That's at the Champions Tour, though.
Oh, okay. I thought it was maybe like the Phoenix Open somehow. And
he does got a 38th and a 50 on the DP and a 52nd here last year, though. Potty, it might be potty time, baby.
I don't think it is, but I saw the again. This is a great way to use the 6K range if you're looking for just like someone that's like in good form. Look at the recent form, scroll down, and I mean Harrington sticks out. But when you look at it more, you're like, oh, he played at the season.
I mean, he still finished 6th with the old guys. You never know. He's down here cheap. I mean, it's tough for me to fully hate anyone if you play 5% Podrick Harrington. Like, it's tough for me to hate that.
It's just so funny seeing 53-year-old Podrick Harrington.
Is there anyone else down here? When we went to the tournament last year, this guy gave Grayson his whole sweatshirt. He took off his sweatshirt and he signed it, and I'm like, who is that guy? And it said Tim Whiting. That guy, Grayson, has his sweatshirt up in his room, so maybe we should play him out of Mojo.
I think out of Mojo, we can add. If we get some Tim Whiting, I'm not going to say no.
I mean, he's got to be 1%, so maybe I play like 3% out of courtesy.
I mean, listen, there's worse plays I'm sure you've made in DFS, so yeah, I don't think Tim Whiting's the craziest idea. I don't know if anything else sticks out. Like again, I think a great way to pick guys in this. Like look at this, Santiago just popped up. Go to Santiago. 19th and 31st. I'm interested.
Where?
Scroll down.
Right there, Santiago. Where is this at? The Asian Tour. He's crushing the Asian Tour.
Yeah, I don't know how many Asians are in Mexico. I don't know if he's crushing it there. But.
The Asian Tour's got to be borderline like the Kentucky Open.
Yeah, I know. This is why using this tool, you got to make sure you scroll over.
I actually really like how you can hold it over, and because a lot of times you can see the number, but you don't know where it was. Yeah, I love that you can hold it over this and see it like this. This is a cool tool. It really is.
And again, like this is for picking out, like we're taking stabs on guys, right? Like 1%, 2% guys. And who knows, when you kind of dig through this kind of stuff, this is one of those things over time, like you might find a gem and you roster them week after week. And when you're in the weeds every single week playing this, eventually one of these guys is going to be like 9K or so, right? And you're going to kind of hit on someone and be overweight on them a ton. So you got to take chances, and we're playing for upside. That's all we're doing. And at least with the 6K range and in every range, right? We're not playing to have guys get T25. We're not playing cash games. We're trying to win the tournaments here, and you got to be pretty perfect in this range. That is funny what Deek said. Crazy there's a major winner in this range for this tournament. Yeah, that is pretty crazy to think. So, all right, I don't got too much else, Big T. Do you have anything else to say about it?
Let's look at some odds on the old gambling. Let me see if I can switch this. There we go.
Do it.
Let's see what we got on the old gambling, which is the best place to look for your odds. There's an interesting one. I don't want to bet that, but like
I don't want to bet any like favorite.
Wire to wire. What is that? Oh, look at that wire to wire plus what 110 to 1 odds wire to wire. That's interesting. Which golfer has the shortest odds?
Yeah, it's bots. Yeah, it's funny because his is 14 to 1. Typically, you have like guys at like 8 to 1 or 7.
I would never play at 14. I would never bet him at 14 to 1.
Never. Like
first round leader. What about some first round leader stuff?
Yeah, first round leader.
These are like the better odds. Like if you're gonna bet him, why not just 30? So that's what's crazy to me. Like you get, what was it, 110 to 1 wire to wire, or 30 to 1 just one round. Like I'd rather have the 30 to 1 and only have to lead one round.
Yeah, I think I'd rather do the one rounds as well. You're just banking on too much with the wire to wire stuff.
Who starts the earliest tomorrow is the question.
Oh, that's a good point. I haven't looked at weather. Let me pull it up to make sure.
Early's got to be good. Let me see.
Let me look at the weather and see.
Rosner, my boy Rosner's the first off. Let's see what Rosner's first.
It looks like we have 0 weather concerns the entire time.
Right here, 70 to 1. There's a bet for. I'm putting that in the old chamber.
First guy out there.
First guy out, and he's a guy I like. Let me see who else is out early that I like. Man, there's your boy Jeremy Paul's off pretty early. Actually, I was wrong. Rosner's not first off. There's 8 o'clock tee times.
Yeah, I see. Oh, you know who's an early one? I see Grayson Sigg is out there early. He's second.
I hate Grayson Sigg.
I don't think he's bad. KH Lee's another upside guy that's early. You know who's early too? 6:52 a.m., which is Mountain Time, so it's probably 4:52. Joel Damon. Joel Damon feels like a good option, though.
I like Joel Damon for sure. I was looking at. And our boy Alex Smalley, Schmid.
Harry Hall's like kind of early. He's at least like he's within an hour before it starts. Yeah, I was gonna say Rosner. I don't see his name up there for
I know. I was looking at the thing backwards, so I got my hopes up for no reason. I thought he was first out. He's like 2 hours in. It wasn't sorted right.
You want another old guy in this field? Francisco Molinari. He's another oldie in this field.
That guy is dusty as can be.
I know. What other? Well, Tiger owned him. Remember, Tiger just absolutely.
Carson Young is 90-1 at Bet365. Man, I love Carson Young.
That does seem like it's
only 65 at TK, but
you want another guy who we never mentioned that's in this field that he had success in a major once is that Tosti guy, Alejandro Tosti. Do you remember him?
Yeah, I played him a few weeks ago and he freaking sucked.
Did he?
His name.
I just saw his name in the field, so I figured I'd shout him out. I don't know. He competed.
How do you spell it? How do you spell his name? Now it's killing me. How do you spell
it? It's T-O-S. You're spelling it right. A-L-E-J-A-N-D-R-O.
I spelled it right?
Yeah.
Wow.
You spelled it right.
That's impressive. I thought for sure it was wrong.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Let's see what old Toasty's got. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. What's the B? Bookmaker? What's B stand? 90-1 at DraftKings.
It might be Bookmaker, yeah. I'm trying to remember what book that could be.
Yeah, probably Bookmaker, maybe. I don't know. But 90-1 at DK, 100-1 FanDuel. It shows you how wide the range is.
I do like seeing how wide the ranges are. I think that's
what I like is, say you like a guy, say you like Toasty, you get them all in one spot here. Top 20. You get all these bets that I like that say you want to put one unit on them. Instead of putting a full unit on the win, go in and bet a few of these different things for small amounts. And it just makes a lot of sense to me. This is what I like the most. So you just click who you like and go down the list like this. It's freaking awesome.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely a good way to use it.
Who's the chat guy? Does chat want us to look anybody up?
Yeah, can you actually? Another thing you can do is, do you want to pull up like head-to-heads and we just look at different head-to-heads? Is that a way?
Yeah, who's like some similar priced guys? Let's look at the top. Akshay.
You could do. You hate Sam Stevens, so you could do Sam Stevens head-to-heads and then just try to bet against him if you want.
Sam Stevens.
And then you can, like, if you hate a golfer, right? You can be like, I think this golfer's terrible.
I don't know if it'll work though if I don't put a person with them.
I don't know. It might. You know gambling better than me. Maybe you're right.
I know it always works if you type it out properly, but sometimes, like, I think you have to put like a name with it. Like, who's in the same range as him?
You can do Patrick Rogers. I bet there's one with Rogers, right? Because he's like a popular guy. He's like always. See if there's any head-to-heads.
Matchups. I think that's what I have to put. Matchups.
Oh, that's why. You probably should have wrote just Sam Stevens matchups.
Oh, it did pop up still.
That's
Sam Stevens minus 110 for the round. Yeah, I mean, Rogers is basically the same price, right? First round matchup. This is the coolest part. I mean, it says there are other prices too. Not only FanDuel has the matchup. Sometimes it'll give you multiple books though.
Try to just type in Sam Stevens matchups. Because this would be a cool way if you wanted to bet against a golfer every week.
Yeah, just click all the names against him. Hopefully it pops up. If not, I'm going to talk to them and recommend it. Here we go. Is it just, so this is the only one maybe?
Nah, yeah. I mean, maybe it's the only one. I mean, you could try. I don't know who else you could try, but.
Akshay's right there, so it's got at least one other one. So I think it did pull all of them.
Yeah, there just might not be many.
What if we pull like a Akshay, like a bigger one?
Yeah, I think this is a cool way to bet against golfers.
It's like a ladder almost, where it's just easier just to click it all the way down and just bet all against them.
Yeah, and if you if you hate Jordan Spieth like I do, it's a great way for it to just be like, hey, Jordan Spieth sucks and bet against him.
Two prices right here. I can get my boy Rasmus at a dog against Akshay. I like that. I think maybe there's just not as many up right now or something. I don't know.
It's probably a weird week for matchups too. Like, try other events. I bet we'll try it another time when we're on the show and talk about it for sure. So give it a look.
All righty.
Do you want to give our winners and then we'll get on out of here? I guess we'll give one up top, like one more expensive one, and then one, I guess, lower. Who do you got? Who's your winner for the
I'll just go through each range and give one for each time. I mean, so up top, 9K and above, my winner is going to be, let's go Bo Hostler. I like Big Bo, Big Hosel. Terrible golf name, but I like his price. 8Ks, I like. Let me see. Actually, I'll pull up the prices too while I go, just so that I can give an accurate number for the people. Hold on one second. So we can get, let's see what I can get Bo Hosler at. Bo Hosler is 30-1 at DraftKings, 35-1 at Bet365. So somewhere in there. The next range I'm going to take in the 8Ks. How much is my boy Norgard? He is 40-1 at DraftKings. I'm going to take him. Nicholas Norgard. I love his talent. I'm going to take him at 40-1. And then let's go down further. Oh, Carson Young's the one I like the best. He's my favorite of all. I'm going to go. Man, you can get 75-1 on FanDuel for Carson Young. That's just a crazy price. Those are my three.
Yeah. Do you think that is do you think those are good options? I know you loved Carson Young. I'm going to go with Harry Hall. He will be my guy in the upper range.
Does he still wear that bad hat?
What?
Does he still wear the bad Bryson hat?
I don't know. Probably, I assume. I feel like I haven't seen him too much lately, but I'm sure I always like those hats, so I'm a fan. I like Harry Hall. He gets the job done. And I'm going to go with the guy the chat was making fun with. He's an upside guy. He's got great course history. Emiliano Grillo. I can't quit him. He's always a problem.
You got to own the chat anyways. They were making fun of you. You got to get in there and own them.
I definitely have an Emiliano Grillo problem, but I'll tell you this. I like him here. So we'll go with Grillo and Harry Hall. They'll be the two guys that I rooting on to win the tournament. Big T gave his guys. I gave mine. We did everything. Any final thoughts here, Big T?
No, a little quicker, but JBC wasn't here to give his winners. Bad event. I think we covered it pretty good. Let's get to the winner's circle this week.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a tough event to talk through. I will say that. So a lot of bad golfers, but I'll take ownership into account a lot more this week. Again, I'm going to try that strategy. The one thing I think I took away from this show that I wasn't planning on before was I'm going to X some of those guys up top and then just run it and see what happens. And I might roll with that. So that's definitely my biggest takeaway from doing the show today with you guys. We'll be back next week. Do you know what next week's tournament is, Big T? Is it actually a good one?
I am not sure without looking, but I think we're in a little bit of
a dry spot.
I don't know. Just because I know Arnie's place is coming pretty soon.
I know. I know the Texas swing comes up soon, right? Isn't that is it Florida?
Cognizant next week, which is PGA National, and then we got Puerto Rico, and then Arnie's place. So we got Arnie's place is in 3 weeks, which then it really gets cooking. Arnie's place, the Players, the Valspar. So I think we got a little bit of a lull, and then we're into it.
All right, yeah. Chat's got all the event names going for us. Yeah,
Arnie's place is the next one I like though, and that's in 3 weeks.
All right. Well, I'm sure we'll be back before that, even giving out the winners if we talked about this one. But that's going to wrap it up for us. Thanks a lot for joining us here on the show. We'll be back with hopefully JBC next week. But for me, Mangone, and Big T, we'll see you guys later.